While the other members of the Society's highly skilled team, the processing workers, are preparing to start their work. They'll be working well into the night to process and pack the day's catch for export. The Society has a number of processing factories, the main ones at Fremantle and Jurien Bay. Each boat heads for its home base. A lot of these bases are isolated and sparsely populated, with few comforts for the fishermen, making it a remote and lonely life for them during the season. So they rely on the Society vehicles which have driven from the factory to meet them, not just to take their catch, but to bring their food, supplies and mail. Day's End at the receival depots, dotted along the coastline, is filled with the bustle of activity. Unloading, weighing, packing, while in the background, the fishermen exchange fishing tales and talk about tomorrow. From the bustle of the receival depot, it's on the road again for the Society's vehicle, and the next part of the journey for the lobsters. This is an Australia they never thought they'd see. The majority of rock lobsters caught, 70 to 85%, are processed into frozen raw rock lobster tails for the United States market. Recently, small quantities of frozen raw rock lobster tails have also been sold on the Japanese market. The remaining 15 to 30% of the lobsters caught are processed into whole cooked, whole raw and live lobster, and sold in the Japanese, European and Southeast Asian markets. The processing of tails begins here. The tails are graded in categories from 5 ounces to 20 ounces. Tails are hand graded by qualified graders, but if there's any doubt, the tails are weighed. They are then drained, wrapped and packed with all the skill and dexterity that years of experience brings. Next comes weighing. Cartons must weigh 25 pounds net. Great care is taken to guarantee accuracy. Carton details are recorded, and the carton is then strapped ready for snap freezing. It's minus 40 degrees in there. 12 hours later, the freezer doors are open, and a team of well-rugged workers send the cartons along a lobster chain into the Society's freezer truck. The lobster tails are now ready for shipment, and soon will be conversation pieces from Times Square to Tokyo. Lobsters to be used in the whole cook process are sorted here. Red ones with all legs and feelers intact are selected. Reds are preferred, as they have a better appearance. These are placed into the drowning tank, containing fresh water. After the lobsters have been rechecked for legs and feelers intact, quality and colour, they're placed in stainless steel cooking baskets. They're cooked for 15 to 18 minutes, depending on their size. Then placed in ice water for cooling. Each lobster is then thoroughly washed with a pressurized water gun. Skilled packers wrap each one, making sure legs and feelers are properly positioned before wrapping. And soon, snap freezing. Lobsters used in the whole raw process undergo the same preparation, except, of course, they're not cooked. Instead, they're immobilized in fresh water. Government inspectors from the Federal Department of Primary Industry monitor all phases of processing to ensure that quality control and regulations are being followed. The same rigorous checking standards are applied in the packing and snap freezing. This is in addition to the Society's own rigid quality control standards. The live lobster processing starts out on the ocean with circulating seawater tanks on board the lobster boats. Back at the jetty, the fishermen unload the lives carefully. Then it's on to the live lobster factory, where they go into oxygenated holding tanks for 3 to 4 days to purge themselves before shipment can be effected. After the acclimatization period, the lobsters are taken out and graded. Only those that are vigorously alive go into the basket. So vigorously alive that they have to be stunned temporarily so they can be handled for packing. They're packed into these polystyrene containers with great care taken to guard against damage. Cold wood shavings keep the lobsters tightly packed during transportation. A plastic ice bottle goes in as well to maintain the temperature inside at a cool 18 degrees. After being passed for export by a primary industry inspector, the containers and their precious cargo head off to the airport and a trip overseas. The airline container is packed, sealed and loaded. Liftoff and the last stage of the journey to the menus of the world's best restaurants. Western Australian rock lobsters make beautiful and delicious eating, and the Fremantle Fishermen's Cooperative Society is justly proud in bringing them from the remote waters of the Indian Ocean onto the plates and pallets of the world.